This is wondrous. Oh, yeah. All right. Woo! I love it.
Moms and dads, welcome back for episode number 3. How you guys feeling this week? You ready to go to a restaurant, eat something?
Indeed.
Do something
open,
normal?
As long as I can
if they'll
find
open.
one.
Yeah.
That's right.
Have you been able to go anywhere, Morgan, yet?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Contraband?
Yeah. Hey, if you could go eat at a restaurant, what restaurant would you eat at, Lindsay? Chewy's. What about you, Drew?
I would definitely go Lupe.
Lupe.
So if you're in management at Lupe,
I'd go Chewy's as well. What about you, Dan?
I'd go all in Brazilian steakhouse. You
Wow.
and
That's
then where did you go?
Yeah.
Morgan?
I went to Cheddar's, but I wanted to go to Chewy's. It just wasn't open.
You know what? There's no shame in admitting that you need some chips and salsa. That's what I need right now. And I don't want to eat it at home. I don't want to buy it from the grocery store. I want to eat it either outside or in an authentic Mexican food restaurant. And as I was thinking about that, it made me think about our topic today, which is shame, and how we as parents not only have to deal with the behavior of our students that's going to cause them to encounter shame, but oftentimes we as parents, we feel ashamed that, hey, is everybody out there going to know that my child did this? Is everybody going to feel like I'm a bad parent or things like that? And so just wanted to take a quick flyby at the topic of shame and how we can process that so that this will give you some helpful information, but also encourage you. And there's a couple of words that I want you to remember as we talk about shame, because this is how we're going to process it. And they're the words look, know, grow, and talk. And as we talk about that first word, look, we want to be looking for different behaviors, different things that are coming out of our child while they're reacting to us that might be help us identify lies that they're believing. That is what's going to be help us diagnose some of the behavior, but also be able to look for how shame may be gripping a hold of their hearts. And so Morgan Gallion, who's our high school coordinator, but also a member of our Freedom Prayer team, I asked Morgan to just share with us a few questions, a few things that we can think about, that we can ask our teenager to help them process their shame. So take it away, Morgan.
Yeah, so oftentimes when your child is experiencing shame, we see this come out in different fruits. So in your life, in your child's life, you've seen different types of fruit, whether it's bad fruit or good fruit. The bad fruit being anxiety, sadness, maybe they've been experiencing bitterness or anger, and you've seen this in your child's life. And then you've seen the good fruit of love and joy and all of those things. But we want to take notice to these bad fruits. And maybe you've seen it in your own life too. Just experiencing this like, oh my goodness, why was I angry there? Or why is my child lashing out in this way? And often what we can do is we can go before the Lord and say, Lord, why am I all of a sudden angry at this person? I have no idea why. Or why did I blow up at this thing? Or why am I experiencing this tension in my heart? And when we do that, there's always a root to that fruit. And so we get to ask Jesus, what is that root? Why am I acting out in this way? And it may be shame that you're experiencing or unforgiveness that you're walking in. And Jesus gets to call it out so that we get to walk in freedom and healing from that root. And so we just have to focus in on our children and kind of look for those bad fruits and really just sit and have a conversation with them, maybe waiting for the Lord. Maybe you need to wait before the Lord yourself and ask him, Lord, would you give me some insight into what my child's experiencing? But just letting the Lord kind of control and guide you into what those roots are, because he knows better than we ever will. He knows us more than we know ourselves. And so letting him guide us in those moments.
Cool. Thanks, Morgan. So if we were all together, I'd ask you to repeat that word look. So wherever you are, just say that right now. Just say look. Come on, guys, look. And look is to remind us that we want to look for fruit that causes us to be able to engage our student, that reminds us, hey, I need to check on this particular issue. But looking is not about investigating. Looking is not about snooping. I'm not saying that there aren't times that you need to take a closer look at what your child child's got on their phone, or look through some of their stuff. It's not necessarily. I'm not saying there's never a time for that, but especially in the life of a teenager, if you go on an investigative hunt, more than likely you're going to find something that scares you. More than likely you're going to go, oh, and it's actually going to destroy relationship. What I love about what Morgan was talking about is if I look at the fruit in my child's life, then that's going to enable me to ask questions about their heart that are going to go far deeper than me digging through a drawer or reading through a journal or some things like that. I don't know about you, but I found myself in the shameful spot of assuming something about my own child, and I would have actually found out how that what I was actually thought was bad news was actually really good news if I would have asked questions, if I would have looked at the fruit in my own child's life. And so as we talk about shame, what we're really also talking about is our relationship with our student and how God uses us to process that experience, that discipline, whatever it might be that's centered around that shame. And so the next word is no. And what I want you to understand about the word no is that we want our students, we want our teenagers to know and really believe in their hearts that we are walking with Jesus. Because when that happens, then it's going to be able to help us have some form of integrity, some form of trust with them. And so Dan, as the youngest member of our team, who's the closest to being an actual teenage age, I've asked Dan to share with us what was the most important thing that he saw in his parents as he saw his parents walking with Jesus that helped build trust even in times of confrontation, even in times where there might be a little bit of shame involved in the conversation. So Dan, share with us how that actually impacted or helped you trust your parents.
Yeah, just want to encourage you guys. It's so important that you have that relationship with Jesus yourself, because it's noticeable to your students. It's very noticeable, more than you think it is. I remember there was one time in specific that I came home way past curfew and I walked in the door. We have this little dog and he barks at everything. So he started yapping, woke my parents up, and they knew I got home really late. And so the next day my dad comes and talks to me, and instead of getting angry at me, instead of yelling and starting to get mad at why I got home so late, he just started asking questions. He's like, "Hey son, help me understand what's going on here. What went on last night? What were you doing? All of these things." And because he approached me from that place of just asking questions, seeking to understand, it opened up my heart to receive correction in a gentle, loving way. Whereas if he had just come from a place of being angry, just being mad at the situation, I would have closed off and gotten really defensive. And you could really tell that he came to that situation having spent time with Jesus and seeking the wisdom of Jesus before he talked to me. And that makes all the difference, guys. So I just want to encourage you, spend that time with Jesus, because your students will notice. And as you do that, you're going to approach them in a different way than you normally would. And it's going to open up their heart to receive from you.
Yeah, that was so good, Dan. So we've got look, we've got know, and the next one's grow. And what I want you to remember about this tool is it's all about deepening our relationship with our teenagers, so we can have that, so we can parent from a place of influence. Because remember, you still are the greatest influence in your teenager's life, and we can actually gain ground that we don't have to ever give back to the enemy when our students know how to trust us, when they see us walking with Jesus. And when we're not afraid to apologize, when we're not afraid to say we made a mistake. And the times in my own life, and probably throughout 20 plus years of student ministry, the times where I've seen shame wreck a family or devastate because of a situation is usually when parents were after behavior modification over relationship, right? Your child has done something. They came home too late. You caught them vaping or something like that, and you can't believe that they did this, and now you want a quick result. You want behavior modification. And usually that gives the enemy this opportunity to wield the sword of shame in your family, in your relationship with your child, and it can be devastating. And so what the next word is, it's grow, and it's to remind us that as we confront our child, as we deal with these issues, God's actually giving us a gift, an opportunity to grow our relationship. And so, Drew, would you share with us a little bit about some things that you've seen over the course of a pretty long student ministry career as well, about how we can use these moments to grow our relationship with our child?
Absolutely. First off, I just want to affirm and just say how awesome y'all are as parents and loving your students and challenging and encouraging them. I got a text here in San Antonio about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it shows me that you are paying special attention to your students and to your children. But the text was, "This has happened. I can't believe it's happened," and there was a lot of shame wrapped up in it. And so right now, just what I say is, when a mistake is made by your student or one of us, by you as a parent, when that happens, just like Chris said, the wild thing about that in walking with Jesus is Jesus, even when things go off the tracks, Jesus is holding a gift. Romans 8 says he intends to use every single thing for the good of those that trust and love him. And so he says that. So real quick, 2 scenarios that I think we can go 2 extremes and end up in shame and miss growth. One, I remember as a kid being at a friend's house and we were just playing Nintendo. I was about 6th, 7th grade. I remember just hanging out at their house. I always went over to their house, and his big brother, my friend Brandon, his big brother comes out and decides this is the moment he's going to announce to the whole family that he is a homosexual. Wow. And so he just says it out loud. And I remember being like, I don't know if I need to be here on this night, or I'm not part of the family, but I was keenly aware of what was going on, and I'll never forget it because there was zero response in the whole family. Wow. Mom just started saying, "Hey, here's what's for dinner." Hey, and so he announced it again. And he kept announcing it because even he was looking around going, "What in the world?" I don't even know if he was even on that page. It may just be that he needed that moment of growth. Another example is just right here, right in my house. Last week, we came home with some Chick-fil-A, and we were going to have a simple, easy night, and my daughter grabs this massive bucket of Dr. Pepper and just like dumps it on the floor, just the whole thing. I turn around, and there's like this pool of Dr. Pepper on the floor, and my response was not, "Oh, let's have this moment to grow." My response was, "What?" All right, and I lost it. And in fact, my wife helped me out, but I had to like give Shiloh to Maddie because I was losing it. And so both of those, one, he's stuck in shame because maybe he is wrestling with homosexuality or whatever it may be, but nobody's responding. We're just ignoring it. And the other, man, I can't believe what you've done, and that becomes for this moment their identity.
That's right.
When it wasn't. The truth and the amazing gift that we have is when these things happen, we have the opportunity, and I'll just keep it on one simple principle, to express and overexpress and come back and express again, "Hey, I love you."
That's right.
No matter what has happened, no matter how bad it is, no matter how shameful you think it is to them or yourself, no matter how much shame that you feel, Scripture says these 3 things remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. In fact, it says if you have faith and hope, but you don't have any love, it's just a mad, clanging, messed up sounding gong. If we come with love, like when my daughter's in the back seat and she's screaming and she's mad because I can't even remember what it was. She couldn't hold a stuffed animal. And we've taught her that so many times. Hey, we don't just lose everything when we can't hold the stuffed animal. And she is losing it, and she's going crazy. And I remember, and again, this is just Jesus in our lives. This wasn't me going, "Oh, I'll choose the proper response." It was me sitting in a car, and she's freaking out. And it was just this overwhelming, I almost came to tears in my car because it's overwhelming. Jesus just said, the only thing I want you to say right now is, "Hey, Shiloh, I love you." And even as she's screaming, and she's screaming louder because she doesn't want to hear, right? And I'm not doing it I'm just wanting to know how much I love her. So as we have those opportunities, the opportunity we have to grow has to start, has to be caught in the middle, and has to end with this reality of no matter what you have done, that's not your identity. I love you, and so let's talk about this. I love you, so let's walk through this. That relationship holds strong. That's what Jesus does for us. He took our place. He knew what we did. He knew what we were going to do. He knew what we had done. And his outward, like massive, life-changing, eternal expression is, "I love you."
That's so good. As Drew was sharing that, I felt like, there's this picture that God was giving me of just, through the power of His Word and His grace, that's our sword to fight shame in our households, in our relationship with our teenagers. That known quantity that God loves me for free is a sword in our hands. And equally, there is this shield called this reminder that I need to grow in every opportunity. I need to grow my relationship with my child. And if you'll do that, I promise you, there'll be opportunities for you to walk through, or it will give every opportunity that you walk through, whether it's that they did something really terrible or just something, wow, that you can't believe they didn't clean their room again. It will give you every opportunity to see your child mature and be the person you really want them to be. But unfortunately, as parents, we too quickly go to that behavior modification. I can't believe you didn't clean up your room again, or I can't believe you did this at school. And usually that comes because we're dealing with shame. And that reminds me, with this last word, talk, today, that oftentimes we do need to talk to somebody. And I put it at the end because what I want you to remember is that before you ever talk at your child, before you ever start screaming, before words ever come to your mouths, there's something that you need to remember. It needs to be the lens or the filter that you process every correction with your child. And it's, before I talk, maybe I need to talk to somebody else. And so Lindsay really is the glue that holds us all together. She's amazing. And so she always ends this with a reminder about a resource that we want to offer you. And today that resource is in that word talk. So tell us a little bit about what that means, Lindsay, for us today.
Yeah, y'all have heard me talk many times, I'm sure, about the parent newsletter, the text message, the resources here at the building, the access.org website, and all those things are great, and we want you to have that content in your hands as you face these kinds of situations. But if none of that is working, if you get those things and are discouraged or still feel that shame because you don't know what to do with it, that is where these people come into play. And we cannot encourage you enough to reach out. You can email student@crossbridgecommunitychurch.com anytime. If you need to talk or your student needs to talk, these people are incredible resources. Conversations like that are always confidential, and that is what we are here for. So please don't hesitate to reach out.
Awesome. So quick review. We need, when we're helping process issues that might create shame, we need to... Oh, come on. What was your word? Oh, look. I didn't hear you. Sorry. Look.
No.
Grow.
Talk.
And talk. And we'll see you next week for a specific word on encouragement. God bless you. Have a great week.